weekend, generally for the first time, I think like this year, Chris and I were both doing absolutely nothing all weekend, like no shows, no podcasts. So we brought the duvet down to the couch, got all the wee snackies in, and we just had like a horror marathon for the weekend. And it was so nice. Like we just tucked ourselves up, and it was just like, it was lovely just to have to do nothing and watching films for the sake of watching films and not going, right, well, I need to prep a review for this or make notes for that, as they like literally just sit and watch them. So it was really nice just to actually sit and do nothing, which I know that sounds kind of boring maybe to sit and do nothing, but I actually
not at all.
So I sat and did that, and I've obviously caught up on my reading as well. And actually I went to see Ivor, the Faroese singer, at SWG3. So she was supported by her sister, was one of the support acts, Ellenborg, and an Icelandic sort of acoustic singer whose name I will not butcher. I think it's like Asgore or something like that. But it was a really good gig. It was actually, we've seen her live once before at the QMU, and this was a complete, because I was thinking, oh, this is quite close together. I wonder if this is just the same set, but it was completely different, like loads of different songs. She actually did a really nice set in the middle of it because she did the score for The Last Kingdom that's on Netflix. So she did like a little like melody of like different songs that she'd done for that as well. So it was a great gig. There was quite a few interesting characters there as well. There was an older gentleman up the front who, I'm not sure if he was on something, but his dance moves, given that it's not really a dancey, like she's singing in a different language, it's all kind of like folk sort of music. His dance moves were entertaining. And then she's got a couple of sort of like heavy kind of rock songs, and there was a guy next to us with really, really long hair, and he was like headbanging, but his hair was going everywhere. And I mean, like the guy next to him was like a tall bald guy, and he suddenly found himself with like luscious locks because this hair was going everywhere. But in terms of gig etiquette, it was actually like there wasn't too many people on their phones, not too much nonsense and stuff like that. So it was actually really like a nice grown up gig. And I've not been to that SWG3 Galvanizers before, but it's quite cool. It definitely suited the mood of her kind of set as well.
Yeah, it's quite a nice wee venue actually. I think I've only been once a couple of years ago, but yeah, it's good. I like it there. Yeah, nice.
Yeah, so that was good. But I mean, apart from that, as I say, I had a couple of reviews to do for Nordic Watch List. The first of which is The New Force, which has just come onto Netflix on Friday, and it's a sort of true story about the first female police officers to join the force in Sweden. So it's set back in the 50s. It's actually a really good story. It's not just about like, oh, women join the police force. There is a murder mystery element to it as well, and there's lots of like sexism, racism, anti sort of working class sentiment like within the police force. So it's a good wee drama. And because I've watched so many of these now, like you start to get a feel for like who these kind of Swedish character actors are as well. So you know that like Jimmy Lindstrom turned up in this and I was like, oh, you're going to be a bastard because you're always a bastard and stuff. And sure as luck, he was. So it's one of these things where I feel like I'm sort of getting to place people now, but that was a good wee watch. And it's kind of competing with the Ed Gein monster thing on Netflix, but it's actually sitting at number 2. So for a Swedish language drama, that's not too bad. And then I had to review A Life's Worth as well, which is coming to Viaplay, which stars Edvin Riding, who's obviously quite a big star in the Nordics. And that's about a Swedish UN peacekeeping force that go to the war in Bosnia. It was brutal to watch. I was crying quite a lot at it. It was quite intense, but I think obviously because he's in it, it will do quite well. He is a big star, so it was a really interesting watch. And then, as I say, we sat and did our sort of horror movie day. So we watched Bring Her Back, which I wish I had seen when we talked about films talking about grief. I wish we had seen that before because it was like perfect for that. It was really good. I think Sally Hawkins is absolutely brilliant in it, but I wasn't expecting some of the twists that came as well. So I like a film like that where you can't really guess what's going on.
Yeah, because with that film, I was initially lulled into not a false sense of security, but I kind of knew where it was going because it was more sort of psychological.
Yeah.
And it was all about that. But then, jinx, when it kicked off, oh man, yeah.
So that was definitely, Chris and I both turned to each other and was like, that was fucking brilliant afterwards. But like, it's quite hard hitting. So we watched that. We rewatched The Witch, which I absolutely love. Like, it freaks me out no fucking end every time when we get to the end of that film and you hear those little whispers from Black Phillip. I'm like, nope, I can't. There's something about the audio. I don't know what it is, but it really makes me sort of clench up. So that was just really nice to rewatch that as well. I watched Creep for the first time ever, the Mark Duplass film. It's kind of done like a sort of documentary. It's on Amazon. It's basically this guy who says that he's dying of cancer, so he hires a documentarian to come and film his last few days. And I swear to God, I don't know how many times I turned around to Chris and just went, absolutely not. No, we're not doing this. We're not doing this. Because it's a film that Chris and a few of my friends have been asking me to watch for like a number of years. So I finally sat down and watched it. And it's really, like, the ending took my breath away. But it's one of those ones where, having watched it, I'm like, I wonder if Zach Krager has watched this, because there's a few elements of both Barbarian and Weapons that I recognised in that film. So you just kind of wonder if it's something that he's seen. So definitely worth the watch. I also watched The Descent. It's kind of 20th anniversary thing as well. I don't care how many times you've seen that film. The first instance of the crawlers appearing in shot, just, it's not funny, is it? It just makes me absolutely shit myself. So that was a good wee watch. And it makes me really glad that all of my hobbies are sedentary. Like, I'm never going to get stuck in a cave and die, because I just like to read books and watch films. So that was good. We watched Thelma as well, which is a Joachim Trier film about a young woman who starts to realise that when she is angry or distressed, she can alter the universe, essentially, with her body, with like tremors that she gets in her body. A very slow burn, and I would say more of like a psychological drama as opposed to out and out horror, but very, very good and very well acted as well. We then watched Event Horizon, which I had never seen before. Sam Neill in space. So that was really good, because I feel like space horror is perhaps maybe not the most explored horror. I know you've got Alien and all that, but I feel like it's not the most. And I really, really enjoyed the concept of this. Some of the special effects have aged quite poorly, but I think you get wrapped up in the story and you kind of forgive it because you are actually enjoying it.
Yeah, I did enjoy Sam Neill's performance in that. That was very good. Yeah. So it was, can you see? Can you see?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And when he appears with no eyes, and you're just like,
yeah.
So yeah, it's very, very good. And then off the back of that, we watched Aliens, because I have never seen that before. And I genuinely think this might be the closest Chris and I have ever come to getting divorced, because we watched the film and I turned around to him after it and went, "Thought you said that was as good as the first one."
Ouch.
So I think for me, I was expecting more of the out and out, like, spooky horror tension that the first film gives you, whereas this film is definitely more of like an action film.
Oh yeah, it's a complete shift. Yeah, it's not a horror film, it's an action thriller film. That's why a lot of people really like 1 and 2, because they're so different.
Yes, I think I was just wanting more of one, basically. And so for the first hour and 20 minutes, I kind of struggled with it. And then for the last hour, once you actually see the alien, and I must admit, the creature design's amazing. There's a couple of shots where it unravels itself and you see the big queen, and like, it was so good for that. But I think, and there's obviously like the famous lines and stuff in it. But I think because I was expecting more out and out horror, it didn't really work for me the way I wanted it to. But yeah, we were this close to divorce after that. And to cap it all off, we watched Ghostwatch. Now, I put a picture of this on my Instagram story, and I had so many people message me saying, "How dare you? That was my childhood trauma." So I didn't know that because Chris has always said to me he watched it when he was 9 with his mum and dad, and he was really scared for about a week afterwards. I didn't know this was just presented on the BBC as like with no context. So it was broadcast live as if it was an actual documentary happening from inside a haunted house with genuine BBC presenters doing the work. I was more than a little bit freaked out by this, I must admit. Going up the stairs that night, I was like, "Chris, you go first and put the lights on," because I was like, no, this has actually quite disturbed me. But so many people messaged me after I had put on a wee thing saying I was watching it going, "Oh my God, my childhood was ruined by this. Like, this ghost really scared me." It must have been quite a big deal back in the day. However, would you get away with that now? Definitely not.
No.
You would have to have some sort of broadcast warning to say like what you're about to see is fiction or whatever. So we watched that, and I was genuinely really scared by that as well. And yesterday, to finish things off, I went to see The Smashing Machine which I'll not talk about in case we talk about on a future pod.
Mm-hmm. Yep, absolutely. I'm planning to try and catch it tomorrow or Tuesday.
Cool.
And I've heard it's very good. So just in general, I've heard it's very good. I missed it because obviously I was away, so that was the...
Yeah. Well, we had tried to go and see The Long Walk, but three of the screens at Cineworld at Silverburn are out just now because they are getting made into... So obviously there's less screens, which means the films that you want to see, chances are not. So The Smashing Machine was on instead, so we thought, right, we'll go and see that. Because I did really want to see The Long Walk, but it is what it is. But they're getting obviously transformed into VIP because...
they're taking the seats from Renfrew Street, yeah. Which will be interesting since half of the VIP seats in Renfrew Street don't work.
Are broken,
So. And it does seem a wee bit cynical as well, because obviously if they're bringing in the VIP seating and stuff like that, there's going to be less seats and it's going to be more expensive because there's an uplift charge to watch anything, because they don't actually have a VIP area anywhere. Not in none of the Cineworld cinemas. I think there was only maybe about 6 or 7 of them, and they shut them all down last year. And the one in Glasgow they just had as obviously just normal cinema, but it costs you like £4 more to go to because of the seats. And cynically, they'd put on the new releases on those ones as well to begin with. So it was difficult to get a screening just with normal seats to see something like Wicked, for instance, because they had.
And I suspect that's what Silverburn will do as well. So for your big Marvels, it'll not be ready in time for Wicked this year, but for your big Marvels and stuff going forward, your big DC films, I suspect it'll be, or cynically, kids films like Minions and stuff like that. Because if you can get a family of 4 to pay even more to go and see a film, then chances are,
Yes, it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see how long they actually last as a cinema chain. Yeah, because I think they could be having problems somehow.
The thing is, it's a big space at Silverburn. It's 20 screens. So albeit there's only 3 that are being made into VIP, but it does take away a big chunk. So like that, if you want to go and see The Long Walk, which is okay, it's not a massive film, but it's not like a tiny indie either. There are some big names involved in it. But there's 3 screens straight away that are just completely out of bounds, which is pushing, like, for example, The Smashing Machine, I think, was only on twice yesterday. Now, again, that's a big release. Yep. And so for a Saturday, 2 showings, one at like 11 in the morning, 5 o'clock at night, I just don't know how it is. I don't know how long that's going to last in there, to be honest.
Yeah. It's obviously the screens that they're converting will be some of the larger ones as well, I would imagine, to accommodate, because the press screenings are in screen 6.
That's what we were in last night, so it's small.
Yeah, it is quite a small one. I mean, it's nice, it's okay. It's perfectly functional and it's nice and clean, and the screen's actually like a decent screen in it, so it all feels relatively fresh and new. But yeah, I mean, if you've only got these smaller screens, then you still get, and especially on a Friday and Saturday, you still get a bunch of people, especially when it's horrible weather, say, we'll just go to the cinema, see whatever's there, and that's how these things fill up. Like, say, the Long Walk's been out for 2 weeks now, so you'd think it would start to kind of tail off. But if there are fewer screens, people will go and see, what's on then? I can't get into this one. What's on next? What's the next one? 30 minutes time, The Long Walk? Yeah, just go to that. Something to do, Can go and get my popcorn and go and play the video games outside. Get my picture taken with Thor.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, they've got these sort of life-size statues of, I think it's Thor and
Iron Man.
At the entrance to the Cineworld, and you always have people standing there posing with them, all sorts of weird poses. I haven't seen any sort of semi-sexual ones.
No. They had a Superman thing for a while as well, and it was like you had to stand underneath it with like your hat as if you were like holding up a building. So did a few photos with that as well. I saw like a dad taking photos of his like sons or whatever, holding it all up. I just think it's always too busy in there to be like going post everyone watching you.
Yes, it is. It can get quite busy in that one because there's that big open area. Yeah, where people will mill about before actually going through to the cinemas and stuff. So yes, but That's your multiplex cinemas, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, yes. I did get tickets, though, to go and see Frankenstein at the GFT as part of the London Film Festival, which is now completely sold out. And which the film that Chris is probably not looking forward to, Pillion, which is Alexander Skarsgård's gay BDSM biker movie, which I'm very looking forward to.
That is a niche audience.
Yeah. Yeah, me for sure. But I saw the trailer for it this week, and it does look very good. It's like it seems to be like quite funny, but like emotional and charming, and obviously lots of gratuitous Skarsgård body.
Nice. Oh, that'd be good. Yeah. So, how many? Do you know of any others that are playing at the GFT? I think there's a number of them, isn't
there? There is. There's the Coral, which is the Ralph Fiennes film as well. There is Begonia, the new Yorgos Lanthimos as well.
Oh yeah, I've seen some clips from that. That looks good. I like his stuff.
I feel like he's very hit or miss for me. Like Dogtooth, I absolutely hated, like genuinely hated. The Lobster, I felt the same about. I was like, I need this film to end. I'm so fucking bored. But Poor Things was excellent. So I'm on the fence. I keep seeing trailers for it, so we maybe end up going to see it. There's a couple of foreign language ones as well, and there's the one with Amir El Majri and Pierce Brosnan, the name I've forgotten, the boxing film.
Can't remember what it's called, but yeah, I remember seeing some stills for somewhere.
So they do have quite a lot. Unfortunately, don't have Sentimental Value, which is the film I was really wanting to see, but that comes out in the UK on Boxing Day, so I'll just have to make an attempt to see it over Christmas. But there is a few, but Frankenstein's completely sold out. I know that much.
Oh, you would expect that, because that's one of the most talked about films for the sort of tail end of the year. So yeah, that'll be good. Yeah,
very excited. What about you? Have you managed to watch much while you've been gallivanting down south?
Yeah, watching a few things. I watched The Apartment last night, the Jack Lemmon, Shirley MacLaine film from 1960, I think it is. I didn't realise that it won like Academy Awards and all sorts of stuff. It's a brilliant film. I had listened to a podcast, Film Spotting, where they talked about it as a sort of what do they call it? I can't remember, but the Pantheon. They stick films into it. What they found after a while was when they do reviews and they do top fives and things like that, they always seem to come back to the same films all the time and want to mention them for, like, you know, best films about grief or whatever, and it's always the same one. So they actually created a Pantheon and says, right, these films go into Pantheon, we can't talk about them.
Wow,
so
right, okay.
what they did was they did these sort of they realised in some of the films that actually in the Pantheon that they can't talk about, they never reviewed in the programme, and they've been going for like 20 years or something. So they've been doing some of these reviews, and one of them was The Apartment, and I thought, I've not watched that in ages, and I look back and it was like 5 years ago I think I watched it. It's a great film, really enjoyed it. Just such a biting sort of satire on like getting to the top and stuff. Things we'll be talking about later on, obviously, as well. So it fitted in quite nicely with what we're talking about. So if there was a top three based on...
that would be perfect. Yeah,
everything kind of in there. So yeah, that was good. I watched The Strangers Chapter 1 because Chapter 2...
the new one?
The new one, Chapter 2, just came out. A part of the film is based on The Strangers, which was about 10, 15 years ago, a horror film where it's like three masked people terrorise like people in cabins and in the woods and all this sort of stuff. And the original film was quite good. There was a follow-up film which was kind of sort of related to the first one, but this is like a retelling of it. It's in three parts. They filmed the three films all at the same time, and they're releasing them 1 year after another. It's Renee Harlin who is directing it. And I hadn't seen Chapter 1 when it came out of the cinema, but I was supposed to be going to a press day and Chapter 2 was on, so I thought, better watch Chapter 1. Watch Chapter 1. It was shite. It was so formulaic and it was just nonsense. And it's just this whole... I've got less and less appreciation for people doing really, really stupid things on screen all the time. So it was just one bad choice after another, which is supposed to lead to tension ramping up. And the fact that the strangers themselves, you don't know if they're actually supernatural because they're everywhere You know, they seem to anticipate every move and all that kind of thing. But it's just, I was just like, no. So I couldn't even be bothered going to see chapter 2 after that. I thought, I can't put myself through that again. That's just nonsense. So that was a bit of a disappointment because I was looking forward to it. You know, I thought, a nice wee 3-parter that could work out quite nicely. But yeah, and it didn't help that I'd read a wee bit about it, and there was like the lead actress, and she was saying, sometimes in the morning you'd be filming someone from chapter 1, and then sometimes you'd be filming someone from chapter 3. So
that's odd.
From that, no, well, that's fair enough. If the locations are the same, they could be doing
stuff.
But it was just in terms of the story. I thought, well, she's going to last until the 3rd film, then, you know, so there's no jeopardy and everything that is happening. So it was like, what's the point? What is that?
God, I was just thinking, as an actor, how do you memorize 3 scripts at once? But as you've actually pointed out, it means she lives. Like, what? That's terrible. Oh, God.
So, yes, that wasn't particularly good. I watched another film last night, which was a really weird one, called Attack from Space from 1965. It's an American film that's actually a compilation of these short Japanese films. It's like Japanese things. I think it's like they're like 2 stories sort of mashed into one and westernized at the same time. And it's like this really, really cheap science fiction. It's about a race of beings who want to take over the universe, and there's another race of beings who want to stop them. The Emerald Planet, I think it is, and they want to stop them. So they send a man out into space called Starman to protect the Earth. And this is like the lowest budget sci-fi films you could see.
Wow.
Like he attacks this spaceship at one point, and the spaceship's kind of dangling off of a bit of string.
Oh no!
Even by 60s standards, it looks particularly bad, and it's really badly dubbed. And on the Emerald Planet, they have this scene where it's like a big sort of council, but nobody speaks because they're obviously speaking in, I don't know, Emeraldese, but they're all wearing these really stupid costumes, and they've decided that some of them are going to have metal for arms, but it's just like metal pipes they've got, and you see them when they're going like this. And so this is the way they're talking about it, and it's just terrible. It's absolutely, but it's quite entertaining.
Simmy's logins for something? Like, where did you find this?
Well, this was on Talking Pictures TV because they just hoover up like films, like film banks from all over. So they've got this content. A lot of it's British stuff, but they've expanded, and it's all sorts of really sort of low budget stuff they've got. But this was pretty terrible. And it was all Japanese characters in it, but they all spoke. It was all dubbed over with these weird American accents and stuff like that. So it was very, very cheap. But yeah, I mean, entertaining, I suppose. I also watched The Accidental Tourist. I don't know if you've ever seen that. William Hurt, Kathleen Turner, and Gina Davis. It's about a travel writer and his wife, and they have a tragedy. Their son dies, and their marriage deteriorates because of that. And he writes books for Americans traveling abroad, how they can be American in other countries by going to like American style restaurants and finding places that sell hot dogs, and only taking a case that you can carry, always having a book so that you have a book to read, and it also distracts you from anybody you're sitting near so that they won't actually talk to you and things like that. So it's
story of my life.
And of course he meets this free spirit woman who runs a dog kennel, and she trains dogs and stuff, and that's played by Gina Davis. So I mean, this is like from, I think this is mid-80s, I think it is, from what I remember. And it's just a really nice film. Yeah, it was 1988. And it's quite a gentle film, but William Hurt is a complete dick in it because obviously he's moving from one woman he goes back to his wife, and it's all seems to be his problems, and he's from this very sort of middle-class white family, and the family are all pretty weird as well. His brothers and his sister are all weird and everything. But Bill Pullman is in it as well. Very sort of early role for him. He's the publisher of the travel books, and he's kind of a quirky character as well. So it's fairly decent. I remember seeing it years and years ago, and I thought, I've got that on DVD. I'll give that a watch. That should be fairly decent. So yes, that was pretty good as well. That was it kind of for sort of film-wise. It's been a wee bit light. TV-wise, I've been watching another Poirot which are always nice there. I've got loads of them to watch. So this one was all German spies in this one. There wasn't actually a murder in this one for a change. So it was quite good. I watched Black Rabbit, Jude Law TV show. It's only just come out in the last couple of weeks. It's been, I think it was like maybe 2-3 weeks ago. Jason Bateman is in it in a supporting role, but he also directed it as well, which was fairly decent. Yeah, it was okay. I've only watched one episode of it so far. It's about Jude Law is a man who is running a restaurant in New York City, and he's trying to break it through and like sort of become a success. And his brother used to work for him, but his brother's a bit of a fuck up, and he gambles and he gets into trouble with the wrong sort of people, and he's disappeared for a couple of years, and now he's back. But all the stuff that he was doing while he was away is sort of coming back to haunt him as well. So there's an awful lot going on. And the first episode starts with a party in the restaurant, and then there's a hold up, and people are getting guns put in their face and all that. And it's kind of like, whoa, that's quite a good way to start it. So, it looks reasonably interesting. I think it's only like 6 episodes or stuff, and I think it will just be a one-off. Yeah, that seems to be more and more the thing. Like especially with Leslie, she's fed up watching stuff that's 8-10 episodes when it doesn't need to be, because we've finished off the White Lotus. Oh yeah, the 3rd season of that, and
that definitely could have been a couple episodes shorter.
Oh yeah, there's 2 extra episodes worth of stuff in there, and it just wasn't relevant. They were going back over things again and again, and you could have easily. I mean, I'm saying from the point of a viewer, obviously, that you could have cut 2 hours out of that program quite easily, and it would
definitely
have no detriment to it whatsoever. So yeah, that's a bit of a shame, but it had a good ending to it, but it should have come a lot quicker. But even then, I was a little disappointed, because you know, obviously, the White Lotus, you expect that there's going to be a death, and it's kind of foreshadows all the way through, because at the very start of this one, I think it's they hear gunshots in the resort at the very start, and you think, oh well, somebody's going to get it, and they kind of tease who it might be all through it. But at the end, I was kind of like, well, it's got some ground to make up, I think, to sort of match the first one.
Yeah, they've announced that the next season's going to take place in I think it's a French resort. I don't know if it's going to be a ski resort or a summer resort. But for me, I think what I did enjoy about that season, The White Lotus, was the turnaround on the Patrick Schwarzenegger character, because at first you just think he's this unbearable arsehole, and then by the end you're like, wait a minute, this is totally unacceptable. What's happened to him? Like, this is not okay. Like, he's really damaged by this. So that was interesting, but I definitely thought this was, for all that I enjoyed the cast in it, like it was a really good cast. For me, that season, The White Lotus did really drag.
Yeah, which is a bit of a shame, really. It's not brilliant, let's face it. I also started watching a new drama on Sky Witness on Sky, which is called Doc, which is one of these high concept medical dramas. Head of emergency or head of surgery doctor who is a complete horror. She's horrible to everybody. She's got no bedside manner. She's very clinical. She knows what she's doing, obviously brilliant, but she's not a nice person. Is involved in a car accident, and she has a brain injury from that, which causes amnesia. She loses about 8 years worth of her life. So when she wakes up, she thinks it's 8 years ago. It starts to tell the story of why she actually became that way, because obviously if you go back 8 years, she's a completely different person. She's still married, and she's still with her family and everything, and then you get snippets of why she actually came to be the sort of person she is. And that's actually quite a nice, interesting concept, if you could sort of take it back, but everybody else around you was like, well, you were horrible to me then, you were, you did all this, and that. So it's kind of good, because in it allows the main actor in it, who is Molly Parker, who you will have seen in loads of stuff. She's like well known for there's lots of TV stuff she's been in. It gives her the chance to play the same character in 2 different ways. So there's the horror one, the horrible one, not horror one, that's the sort of present day, and now she's playing this sort of nicer version of herself, and everybody around her can't relate to that, because only 2 days or 3 days before she was this horrible person. So you've got that as the sort of main story, and then you've got all the sort of medical dramas. She's wanting to go back and actually be a doctor again and everything like that. So, and obviously it'll be a medical case of the week while she's working through her demons and everything. So that was fairly decent, actually. I've only seen 2 episodes of that. I think it's on weekly. It's only just started, so that should be fairly good. What else? Oh, the last thing I watched was Secret Genius with Hannah Fry. The BBC, it's a BBC documentary. She looks at everyday objects and she goes into the history of them. She goes into the mechanics of them, all the sort of the science behind it. I'd watched one maybe about 3-4 months ago. It was on the air fryer, which was actually pretty good, actually, because you don't really think about a lot of stuff. You accept, there's a bit of science in there and it's designed in a certain way, but the whole history of it, and like, it went back best part of 100 years, this one, but the one I watched the other day was on the bank card and how that came into being, because banks needed some form of identification that was easy to use, especially when obviously come into the age where you could buy things over the phone and you can buy things online. So this all went back, and it's like the CIA went back to in the 60s. It was a magnetic strip and everything, and IBM developed the mag strip that you have on the back of every bank card. And what they did was they did this and didn't charge anybody for the mag strip, the development of the mag strip. They didn't patent it or anything. But the information that was on the mag strip could only be read by IBM computers. So all the companies had to buy IBM computer systems. So you're thinking, genius, well done.
Yep.
That is pretty good, yeah. So it was the development of that from the early days when it was just, it had this magnetic strip and basically just had 1s and 0s on it. And it was so easy to duplicate and copy. But the banks didn't care because it was the cheapest option for them. They needed something that could be used, and they were willing to accept the fraud and everything until it became too much. At one point, it was more expensive to pay back the money in terms of the work it was involved, all the processing it was involved in order to repay a customer who hadn't used the cards. It was the porn industry. The porn industry started accepting cards over the phone, and that's where it kicked off, and people fake cards and things like that. So people were racking up these thousands of pounds worth of debt, and they didn't know why. So they were claiming it back through their bank, which they could, and the banks were losing money, having to pay it back and having to process it because it cost like $30 in order to process a single claim. So they had to come up with the chip and pin as well, and that part of it is totally fascinating. It's unbelievable, the technology that's actually, it's like a computer that's sitting in your card. It's really bizarre, because obviously you've just got the wee the chip that sits there, and that's what scans, but inside there's all this copper wire and everything as well. And that again goes back to like sort of Cold War, because in the Cold War there was an instance in Russia where the Soviet government gave the Americans a gift, and it was a carved wooden eagle. It was like a big disc, and it like a sort of embossed eagle on it. And they presented that to the American ambassador in Moscow. And of course they thought, might be a bit dodgy. So they scanned it all and everything for any electrical signals. Nothing at all. There was nothing at all. But what was inside it was this passive microphone. And this was actually the basis for the card technology, before obviously cards actually come out, because the way that it works is if you fire an electrical signal at this passive device, it gives it enough power that it starts working, and then the signal, whatever conversations are going on, they can hear that and actually get it sent back the same way and actually record it.
Oh my God, it was a Trojan horse then? Like, oh my God.
It was there for 7 years.
Stop.
Because every time they scanned it, there was nothing there. And it was just, they would fire a signal from outside of the building into that room in order to activate it. And they just kept doing it, and they demonstrated it all as well.
Oh, obviously, my God.
They demonstrated it, and it worked kind of, but it wasn't using the same sort of level of expertise and the money thrown behind it. But that is what actually uses how that makes your card work as well, because when you put your card near to a reader, it's the reader that sends out an electrical signal, which there's all this copper wire in the card that actually powers up the chip, and then the chip can actually say, yes, I'm wanting to pay for this, and it can check whether you've got the funds and everything. So your card is passive as well. So, and it was really good because they proved it, because they took a card to bits and they actually just used the chip and all the wires and put it and actually paid for a coffee. It was crazy. Wow. It's just, and that's the kind of detail that she goes into. She takes these things to bits and it works, like shows you how it all kind of came about and all, and it's really, really interesting. It's all these day-to-day objects that she's using, and it's totally fascinating. I could just sit and watch these things all day because I love that kind of sciencey stuff. It gives you the sort of background to it, and it's presented in such a way that it's really entertaining as well. She's a very, very good presenter. She's obviously she really knows what she's talking about, and she's doing an awful lot of stuff. I think it's like on Instagram, just like wee bits, and it's all sorts of things. It's not just like sort of technology. There's loads of wee sort of like 2-minute clips on things, and she just says, well, do you know why this is like that? I'll tell you. Just, it's really good.
I really like stuff like that as well. And I like when you can get, as you see, that like kind of historical context to it as well. So like how, and I especially love when like things come about accidentally, because like my favorite thing is like the WD-40. It's called that because there was 39 previous attempts at getting the product. Yeah. Like I love stuff like that you can, there's a wee story behind it.
Yes, you tend not to think about these things. You just accept, I mean, I don't even know what WD stands for. Yeah, and well, because we had a wasp's nest in the eaves in the house a couple of weeks ago, I was looking up how to do it on my own, how to fix it, and one of the things they suggest is WD-40. You spray as much of if you can actually get to the wasp's nest, you spray it with WD-40 or wherever they're getting into the building, you spray it, because the wasps then take that in with them, and it's poisonous to them. But we ended up getting the guy to come and do it, and it's basically powder stuff. And again, that's kind of fascinating as well, because he just sprays outside with this powder. And at first, the wasps were going fucking mental. There was dozens of them, because they sense there's something that shouldn't be there.
Yeah.
And they're obviously cautious about going anywhere near it, but they eventually have to, because, the nest is inside, and one of their jobs is to protect the nest. So they all go inside and they all carry this powder stuff in with them, and it kills them all. I mean, within about an hour, it was like, it was like a wasp graveyard on the driveway, because there was all these dead wasps, because it's so effective, so quick, but who come up with that sort of idea that, stuff can be carried? You
almost have to be like an animal behaviorist to know like the patterns of how these animals move in order to understand, well, this is how you could kill them, I guess.
Yeah, I suppose if they realise it's sort of it's a hive mind, a hive technology, then you just need to bring something in that's powerful enough to sort of empty it and kill it. So, and they don't come back. That's the thing, because they know not to come back. They'll find somewhere else to go as well. So yeah, it's just interesting.
I wonder if that would work on the flag shaggers, because they're definitely all sharing a brain cell.
Yeah, well, not while Big Flag is making so much money out of this. That was one of the jokes I had. Like, they were talking about how the government are supporting the British flag industry at the moment.
Oh, because they're all falling all over themselves to say, oh, I've got bunting in the garden and I've got a British flag. Like, I've never known politicians in my puff to be talking about how many British flags they have in their house. I know. Same behaviour.
Yeah, because like when I was away down south in Chesterley Street, every lamppost had a Union flag on it. And I thought, that's terrible. But then yesterday, when I was going into town in Springburn, every lamppost on the main road in Springburn had a Saltire flag on it. It's just...
there was somebody going around putting up Saltires, because a lot of people were saying, like, let's not corrupt. Because obviously a lot of Scottish people feel a certain kind of way about the Union Jack, and people were saying, like, let's not corrupt the Saltire, let's not basically turn into the flag shaggers. But yeah,
you're going to use that from now on, aren't you? No.
100%. Yeah, it's just it's one of these things where, like, why do you think that Nigel Farage or Stephen Yaxley Lennon, to give him his proper name, why do you think that they actually give a tiny, tiny fuck about you and your your life. Like, they don't care that you can't put on your heating or feed your family or whatever. They're just telling you to blame immigrants because they don't want you to look at, for example, how did Nigel Farage's wife afford her second home? You know, the exact same thing that Angela Rayner got fired for. It's all distraction politics. And it just really annoys me that people are, you know, do your own research, do your own thinking, don't fall for what they are feeding you, because it's not the truth. And T did with my TED talk.
Well, there was stuff on this morning. I just caught a wee bit of it. It was on, and they were saying how most people aren't concerned about, you know, the boats stopping the boats and all that. They're more concerned with the fact that, you know, it's costing £2-3 for a bag of pasta. You know, it's the economy. But the politicians are all just focusing on this, and that's one of the reasons why they don't trust politicians, because they're not actually addressing the problems that are affecting most of the people. They care about the plight of these people, and obviously people on both sides of it care about whether these people are coming across or not. And like I said previously, nobody actually wants that to happen. No, everybody wants people to, you know, not do things that are going to endanger their life. Let's face it. But most people are more concerned with the fact that they don't have enough money in their pocket to pay for, you know, their heating, especially when it's going into winter and prices are going up again for all the heating and everything. So, and politicians aren't addressing that. All the party political conferences have all been focused on, like, say, flags. That's what it's all about. You know, we'll protect the flag and all this, every single one of them. And it's like, what?
It's embarrassing. Or Labour, or we'll give you digital ID cards. Fantastic. Bread's now £4. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
This is the reality of it. Like, they're focusing on like these things that they think are like big ticket items that they think are going to get them headlines. Or, you know, Labour this week kept saying, like, you know, we're doing battle with reform. Why is it a party that's supposed to be centre left doing battle with an extreme right? Like, why are you even conflating these two things? It's just, I don't understand it. And meanwhile, you've got the Tangerine Dream across the pond. I don't know if you saw the little clip of, I think it was the presidents of Azerbaijan and Albania. They were caught on a hot mic, basically making fun of him, saying like, oh, didn't realise we were at war, but somebody else has solved it. Because obviously Azerbaijan and Albania are nowhere fucking near each other, but he claimed he'd stopped that war from ongoing or whatever. And of course, those two presidents were caught basically making fun of him for not knowing where the two countries were and that they were never at war with each other. So yeah, it's just, I'm loath, and I understand that I'm speaking from a place of privilege, because if I don't want to watch the TV and see what's happening in the world, that is my right to do so. I can just not turn it on. But I'm very loath to tune in and watch the news or Question Time or whatever it is these days, because it's all a load of shite, basically.
Yep. Oh, definitely, yes. And it just gets worse and worse. It really is. And and it would be funny, but it's happening all the time. It's gone beyond satire. It went beyond satire a long time ago. But yeah, the fact that Labour, who get in a landslide, can do whatever they want, and they're imploding because they just, at every turn, they just get. And it was interesting that during their party conference, they didn't mention the Conservatives once. It was all reform. Yeah, just what the fuck?
I don't know, but I feel like I've lived through enough unprecedented major world events to use the phrase that is, you know, being done today. I'd quite like that to stop now. Quite like to live through precedented times.
So, something a bit quieter would be nice. Yes. Yeah.
Oh dear.